This video is jam-packed with some summertime simple living vibes. You are going to see parts of my garden. I share a road trip game that kept my 3 kids busy for hours on the drive to Florida last week. I'm going to show you a meal plan shortcut that I'm just giving myself this summer. I chat about how simple living helps me deal with stress and a bit of our summer plans, what we've done so far and what we still plan on doing with the rest of the summer. I'm going to show you our messy dining room and kitchen and talk about how I want to change up that dining room space for the coming school year. I also share how I make pesto and freeze it for the winter time, so there's a lot in here. Check the description box below for timestamps so that you can jump around the video to those parts. I'm really glad you're sharing your time with me today. Hi, I'm Erica Lucas, and I share videos about slow and simple living. A really huge lesson that I have learned over the last 4+ years is to pair grace with space, to allow physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual space in my life, and to give myself grace in those places, especially with motherhood. And that when the table is messy and the countertop, you can't see an inch of the countertop because there's just stuff everywhere, it's okay. It's okay to give myself grace and go sit on the couch because my body's tired and I don't feel like dealing with the counter. And learning to forgive myself and give myself grace for those moments and identify the need to rest. My body, my heart, my mind, my soul, that all of those things need rest in order to have energy. Have I shown you guys my sunflowers yet? I don't think I have. Where do you see this thing? I don't know what happened. Okay, so for reference, I'm 5'2". This plant, there it is. It's like 3 feet taller than me. Isn't that amazing? It's not the kind of sunflower that you get the seeds off and you eat, but she's beautiful. And she has friends. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She has 8 friends. Four years ago when I started sharing, stuff overwhelmed me. Our schedule overwhelmed me. Debt overwhelmed us. Everything felt overwhelming. And now everything has this foundation of peace and calm to it because I've simplified so much. And I share that with you as a way to inspire you to think about what you do want to feel in your life. So if you want to feel calm in your schedule, then identify and name the things that feel stressful in your schedule. If you want to feel calm in your kitchen, identify the things that trigger stress. Is it because you can't find something because you have too many things? Is it because you have to pull out 5 things to get the thing that you want? Does that cause you stress? Is it stressful because suddenly it's 4:30 every day and you have no idea what you're cooking? Then make space and grace for meal planning. Figure out the things that cause you stress and then identify solutions for it that are gonna help you deal with that stress. So the next week, when it comes around, things feel a little more calmer and a little more peaceful for you. And that happened for me week after week, month after month, and year after year. Everything has been looked through with this lens of simplicity and how can I make something easier in my life for the last 4 years. I have 3 children who make a mess. I mean, I feel like maybe they went to a secret spy school on how to make messes. Part of motherhood is teaching them to clean up their own mess and the chores, but sometimes things feel really overwhelming and you need help. And that was definitely something I needed along the way, was help. How do I declutter? How do I get rid of stuff? How do I clean this up? How do I organize this? What do I even want to organize? What do I want to keep? Why do I want to keep it? What makes me feel stressful? What makes me feel calm? Simple living for me has really been such a foundational part of this year for me. I have been working towards living with less and living simply and simplifying our routines, our habits, our stuff, our mind, our budget, our money, how we eat. One of the greatest things about simplifying that I've learned is to spot the stress and how to name the stress and deal with the stress and get rid of it so it's less tempted to reappear in my life. And by doing that, I've been able to allow space for peace and calmness. So when something does spark stress for me, I'm in a place now that it's so much easier for me to deal with and to accept and to process and handle and balance with the other parts of life. Well, I pick at the basil here, prep it for pesto, which I've been freezing throughout the summer. I thought we'd chat about the summer so far and what our plans are coming up. I'm gonna wash the basil in this when I'm done. Okay, so let's see. We've been to Florida for karate nationals. My 9-year-old made it to nationals, qualified for it throughout the year at the regional events, and he got a bronze medal in point sparring at nationals. So we are super proud and excited for him. He's very proud of himself, and it was just a fun week for the 5 of us. We also brought the dogs, the 7 of us. The kids are finished with school, so they have finished 3rd grade, 2nd grade, and kindergarten. We are taking a summer break. This is the first summer that I'm not doing year-round schooling. Usually I just lighten the load in summertime and just do math and reading and writing, like handwriting practice. This year, everybody asked for a summer break, and honestly, I needed one too. So we are taking off, let's see, we ended the last week of June, which we really didn't do much the last week of June. And we're taking all of July off, and August, the first 2 weeks of August, we're gonna go back to school August 14th. Usually I get them a little like end of year gift, like a Lego set they've had their eye on, or what, you know, it's just something small that they've been asking for. This year, what they asked for were yes days. If you have not seen the movie with Jennifer Garner, it's where she is challenged by her children as a mom that she's not fun. And she remembers the days that she was fun. So she gives the kids a yes day. And in a yes day, the parents in Hollywood have to say yes to everything that the kids ask for the day. They went through the car wash with the windows open. They had a paintball tournament. I mean, it's just, you know, things that I'm not gonna do. So I put some parameters around their yes day. It has to be affordable, local, and Andy, my husband, and I can veto it. Anything. We have full veto power. So if they say, go through the car wash with the windows down, I'm not gonna do that. But what they've come up with so far is go to the movies. Okay, we could do that. Go roller skating. Okay, we could do that. They have a restaurant picked out that they want to go and have lunch at, and find an arcade. These are all the things they've chosen so far. And we've said yes to all of them. So that's their end of year celebration this year. It's just going to be a yes day collectively between the 3 of them. The rest of ours, I threw the wrong thing in here. Whatever. The rest of the summer, we're just going to spend the next 5 weeks, I guess, just relaxing. We have a pool in the backyard. I'm going to be gardening every day, The peppers actually have not fruited yet. It's just still in the flower stage. That's a little behind my normal schedule. I'm not sure what I did there, but my Roma tomatoes look awesome. They're almost going to be like another couple of days and I might be able to harvest some of those. I'm pretty excited about that. The basil's been going. We've had 2 rounds of cucumbers. This is our first round of green beans. We already had a round of strawberries and blueberries. We've had a lot of rounds of basil. And so I'll be doing that. The kids are just gonna swim in the pool and relax and just hang out with friends. And then we start school back August 14th. I have not really done very much planning or curriculum purchasing just yet. I will do that. I usually do an annual or maybe sometimes twice a year video about our homeschooling and what we do and what our plans are and what we use. Oh, that's all my basil. Okay. That should make probably 6 or 7 frozen cubes. I put them in ice cube trays. I put the pesto in ice cube trays and I freeze it so that we have it, and then we just put it in the microwave or thaw it in the fridge, and then we just have it whenever we want. And then I've got these green beans. I am going to fry up some bacon and serve them with green beans with mini meatloafs that I make and mashed potatoes. Also went to the farmer's market this morning and got a dozen ears of corn, so we'll probably have that with lunch today, and maybe some sausage or something. And I got zucchini. Okay, we just got home from Florida not too long ago, so these are all the groceries I picked up this morning. This is for later today. I'm just going to actually just leave it on the table while I wash the basil. What I wanted to tell you was I'm going to change it up for homeschool. If you've been around for a little while, I am in my 5th year of homeschooling. And when we first moved in here, I tried converting what we call the library or living room in the front of the house into a schoolroom with desks, and it worked for like 3 weeks. And then we all ended up at the dining room table again. It just didn't work out. They were young. They were just too young for desks. It didn't make a lot of sense. Now desks make a lot of sense to me. My kids are, let's see, rising 4th grade, 3rd grade, and 1st grade. And my 4th grader and my 3rd grader are now doing a lot more independent work, and they need space to do that. And when we all sit at the table, there's a noise problem. That's kind of like a second problem. So they need space to do their independent work, and they also need a little bit quieter. When we're all together at the table, it's pretty noisy for someone to concentrate on independent work for math or language arts or whatever it is that I've asked them to get done for the day. So I would like them to have a desk space for them to be able to go and do independent work, put on some headphones and maybe have some music going while they're doing their independent work. While I might be still at the table with my 1st grader. My 1st grader does not have any independent work. Another problem for me is this room that I'm standing in right now. It's our dining room. It's what we call our dining room. We have not been dining in this room. Andy and I have been standing at the counter, and the kids have been sitting at the kitchen table, which is like a white round table where I just did the basil. The kids have been sitting there and eating, and Andy and I have been standing because it looks like this often because of school. We finished school, I started planning for the next year, and then we went on vacation, and it still looks like this. So this room was a dining room that we did school in. It evolved over the last school year into a homeschool room that we sometimes eat in. And I would like to reclaim my dining room space. So that's why I want to convert the next room over. Let me take you this room here. Let's go over there. I want to convert that to be our official homeschool room. I don't know that my 1st grader needs a desk, but my 3rd grader and my 2nd grader need desks. If my 1st grader asks for a desk, I'll give it to him. And side note, we have desks. I think we have like 5 desks in the basement. Hi, I'm a minimalist, but I have 5 desks in my basement. Anyway, okay, so this room. So my husband's first editions, and then some photo albums from my mom, and then just a smattering of series. That's our history shelf, and then our science shelf, some more photographs, and then puzzles, all puzzles, these 2 shelves here. My cookbooks live here because I didn't have space for them in the kitchen, and then my shelf here of my books, and than more science and mixed topics, art, that kind of thing. So I want to completely redo this room. I want this out of here. My husband suggested putting in the basement. The basement has concrete floors, so I'm not a fan of that. He actually suggested just getting rid of it. So I don't know about that. My daughter would not be a fan of that. So maybe we'll put it in her room. She has space in her room. But basically I want to pull everything off the shelves, find a different home for all their photo albums, pull everything off of these shelves. And I'm thinking I might put a desk here. Well, I want them separated, right? So they have their individual space. This couch is broken. We decided we're not going to move it whenever we do move someday, but we're going to keep it for now. Maybe I could put a desk here and a desk here for them. And then they could utilize the shelf nearest to the desk. I thought that would be kind of nice too, just desks in front of the windows. I'll probably get rid of this, meaning like I'll move it to a different location in the house. We set this up for video games. You guys might remember my husband decluttered a ton of video games. So proud of him, but the ones that we still have some, and when they do play the vintage video games, they play them right here. We have a table downstairs in the basement as well, like a smaller table. I was thinking about putting it here for art projects, group work that we do together. It's kind of weird to have a room with a table here and a table here. Just keeping it practical. I need a homeschool space. The kids are older now. I need a space that I can allow to get messy and that we can leave for the next school day. We had a good habit in the beginning of the school year where we cleaned off the dining room table each day and put stuff away. It just didn't stick, especially if someone was mid-project or spent hours getting a math page done, whatever it might have been. And then just is what it is. So I would like to reclaim that for August time. I think I will video that. Let me know if that's something you guys would like to see. I'm sure, you know, that could be motivating for some. I have decluttered books. I don't think I'm going to be doing any decluttering out of here. If I declutter anything, it's this broken couch. But otherwise, I don't think I'll declutter anything out of there, but I am going to completely change the purpose of that room. In the next video, probably, I will be sharing my process that I started today. I'm roasting a chicken in the oven with some veggies. And then once that's done, I pull all the meat off the bones and put the chicken in the fridge and use that for a meal or whatever, or lunches. And then the bones, I save all the poultry bones and save all the meat bones. And then I make bone broth once I have a good quantity. And after today's bones, I'm gonna have enough to make poultry bone broth. They're all chicken bones, chicken bone broth. And that's a 2-day process, 48 hours. I do it in my large roaster oven. It's countertop, electric, and put all the bones in there and veggies and water, and just make sure it has enough water for 48 hours. Just routinely check it. I just put the onions in, skin and all, carrots, celery, garlic, just whole cloves of garlic that I just peel and smash. I don't smash them with my hands, I smash them on the counter, whatever. I put all that, and it just smells so good for 2 days. So I'm gonna be doing that process, and I was thinking I would film it for the next 2 days because I don't think I've ever filmed that and shared that before. So I'm gonna do that. I don't have enough bones for beef broth. I might. One thing at a time, chicken bone broth, because ultimately my goal here is to make a chicken bone broth soup, chicken soup made from the bone broth for my daughter. My daughter has gone dairy-free. It just helps her GI business when she's dairy-free. So she is officially doing that. That won't be for 3 days from now because it takes 2 days to make the broth, 2 full days. So I'm filming that, and I suppose I'll share that as my next video. Let me know if you want that video too. My posting has been inconsistent this year, this summer very specifically. I thought I would do better than I am. So I'm taking it 1 week at a time. I didn't even film like packing for Florida. I will say for moms who are doing a road trip this summer or any summer. It's a game of Guess Who. I got it for like $12 before we left. It is Guess Who, and you probably know the game. It kept the kids busy for hours in the car. We drove to Florida. I did not think that they would take to it the way they did. We tried to balance device time in the car with non-device time, and Guess Who was the biggest hit of the whole week. Best $12 I've ever spent for a road trip, I'll tell you that. And the doors have broken off because we're in the car. But anyway, I seriously, I can't believe that worked. I brought coloring books. I brought storybooks that they could create. I brought special color wonder markers that, you know, won't color on the insides of my van, but they could color on their papers. Nope. Oh, I went to Target. I got this like magnetic puzzle. My 6-year-old really liked that. It was a human body identification, the anatomy puzzle. He liked that in the car, and then he also liked that while we were waiting at Nationals championships. We had to wait for a long time for Brandon's match. So I guess that's it for summer. Like, that's sort of like my summer update, I guess. You know, we went on a vacation. I'm gardening and harvesting lots of goodies. I can't wait for my tomatoes and my peppers to finally come up. I'm gonna deal with this summer. I'm going to plan all my homeschool. I'm going to clean up this room, organize all the things that we have for homeschool, and then I'm going to set up that room as a homeschool room. That's going to be a project that I'm going to need help from everybody in my family, and they don't know it yet. I usually like to try to cook from scratch and from my garden during the summer, but I also recognize some boundaries that I've been running up against lately. Is I haven't been ready to feed the kids lunch. I just haven't had the right stuff in the house. My meal planning was a little lacking. So here's what I did. I'm just gonna show you a shortcut I took. I'm not gonna feel bad about it. I bought these pre-packaged family-sized soups. My kids are obsessed with soup year-round. So I got this. I know they're gonna be like higher in sodium. Yeah, geez. A cup of soup is $7.10. Ugh. Now see, if I would have checked this in the store, I probably would have skipped it, but I felt like I needed to take a shortcut this summer, and my kids will eat soup every meal, every day, 365 days a year. I was buying canned soup. They're like $4.50 for a can of soup. This was $4.50 and it makes 8 servings. So I thought I would just take the shortcut instead of trying to make homemade soup. Now I am making my daughter the homemade soup, but that's only going to be for like one meal. I needed something easy for lunches. Another way I do lunches is just like sandwiches with a side. Try to keep it easy. I've been trying to sneak protein in. These have protein. They also have milk, so my daughter can't have them, but my boys can have them. They're, 5 grams of protein per serving, which is 15 little graham cracker cookies. So that's 5 grams of protein. That's like a good way. This is such a good brand to sneak protein in. Wash my basil. Just drying it out a little bit. I'll put some damp paper towels over it, I'll put paper towels over it to absorb the rest of the water, and I'll let it kind of air dry for a little while too before I use it. When I make pesto, I kind of wing it. I'm sorry I don't really have like an exact recipe to share. So whatever amount of basil I get from the garden, I use in my little KitchenAid food processor. It's not the big one, it's a small one. Olive oil, minced garlic, salt, pepper, and that's it. You can also put in Parmesan cheese and pine nuts. Those are very tasty. I make it dairy-free because my daughter's the one that eats the most of it, so I make it dairy-free for her. My kids don't really like the flavor of pine nuts, so I just leave those 2 ingredients out, and it's fine the way it is. I put it in the food processor, and I taste test it before I freeze it, and then I pour it into ice cube trays. I put it in the freezer, and then after 2 days, I pop them out and put them in a bag, a Ziploc bag in the freezer. And then we could just take them out individually to microwave or thaw in the fridge. And it's all individual, like a tablespoon's worth from each ice cube tray. And I do that all summer long. And I save a little fresh pesto the day I make it. to use with whatever. We put it on burgers, we put it on chicken, we put it on bread. My daughter just eats it with a spoon. And then we just freeze the rest. And then I have that once the basil harvest is over, I have that for the winter too, then all frozen and ready to go. So I guess that's like another thing this summer. My daughter made gymnastics team, which is so cool. The practices I think are a little much for an 8-year-old, but I guess that's what gymnastics team is, and I just need to acclimate myself to the sports world as a mom. But her practices are 4 hours, 3 days a week. And so I've been trying to figure out good, healthy choices for her that are dairy-free, packed with protein, so it gives her energy and she's not hungry. So I've been trying to find ways to sneak protein in. One thing I do is with her smoothies, we use almond milk, unsweetened almond milk or oat milk, and then I sneak a little protein powder into it. I don't tell her because when she knows there's protein powder in there, she doesn't like it. Shh, don't tell her. I hope she doesn't watch this video right now. Sorry, Becca. I am going to get busy with my chicken. I'm gonna roast one last chicken to have enough bones to make bone broth. I'm gonna film that as a separate video, and that'll be the next video. I will link that here for you if it's already published when you are watching this one. Otherwise, this is the latest video on this channel. I really appreciate you being along with me here today, and I hope you are having a wonderful summer and you have a great day. See you in the next video.